Hi guys, it's Arielle. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you guys are all doing well. If you guys are new here, welcome. Please don't forget to subscribe, and if you do like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Pickpocketing. Something we as travelers and foreigners all hate. But the fact of the matter is that it is a huge reality when you move to France and specifically Paris. I myself have been pickpocketed twice while living in France, and my friend actually very recently got pickpocketed in the most insane way and actually got her iPhone stolen. So in today's video, I want to talk about all the different ways that I've seen people be pickpocketed, that I've been pocketed, and then as a finale, I want to talk about how my friend was pickpocketed, because holy cow, it's just such an insane story. And the reason why I think it's so important to talk about this and why I wanted to make this video is because I think that we all think, ugh, it won't happen to me, I'm always safe when I travel, like, there's no way someone's gonna rob me. And the thing is, it happens to everyone. I myself am someone who locks my bags everywhere I go. I'm so secure. I'm on the metro with like my backpack in front of me, hugging all of my belongings, and I've been pickpocketed. So, you know, it's just a reality of living abroad, and it's important to talk about so that you guys are aware of the tactics that pickpocketers are currently using here and now, and specifically in Paris. So the first time I was pickpocketed was awful. It was when I was living in the south in Toulouse. The thing about me is that I'm very tall, I have a very North American sense of style, and so you could pick me out of a crowd as a non-French person, which I think makes me a bigger target for pickpocketers because they just assume I'm a tourist, I'm traveling, you know, in their mind I might have a lot of cash on me, I might have a lot of valuables on me. But the reason I say this is that the first time that I was pickpocketed in Toulouse, I was walking down a street with my friend, and we both just looked so North American. I have like a ripped jean skirt on, I've got this like black bodysuit, my Birkenstocks, which are not a thing really in France. My friend was wearing like cargo shorts, and men in France don't typically wear shorts that are lower than their thigh, and like a button down and a baseball cap. Like, we both just looked very North American. And so we're walking down this really crowded street, and I have a crossbody on, and normally, like, I say this very sincerely, normally my crossbody is always in front of me. Like, it's a habit that when I wear a crossbody or when I wear my backpack and I'm literally anywhere where there's other people, I always wear it in front of me. Like my backpack, I swing it around in front of me, my purse, I put it in front of me. But for some reason, I guess I was off guard because I was with my friend, but I was walking down the street and I had my purse, like, I had my crossbody like on my bum, like, you know, like behind me. And all of a sudden I feel this vibration, like someone is opening the zipper to my purse, and I whip around, like 2 seconds, I whip around and I see this lady, this mom. She is literally the age of a mom. She has her hands like this at my purse, and she's got her huge son beside her and what looks like her daughter on the other side. So it's like this family of pickpocketers, and I was so pissed. I just hate it when people intentionally try and cause harm, and to me, it's not even about losing money, but if you lose your phone, if you lose your wallet, if you lose your ID cards, it's just like you have to replace everything. You've got to call all your banks, you've got to cancel everything, you got to buy a new phone, you got to, like, you know, it's such an awful experience, and so it just boils my blood that people intentionally want to hurt you in such an annoying kind of way. So yeah, I whipped around and I started yelling. I started yelling at them and I said, "What are you doing?" And I was confident because I knew the street that I was on, I knew the city I was in, and I knew that just 2 blocks ahead, there are always police parked on their bikes. So I was hoping that I could, like, get them to follow me or entice them to follow me so that I could literally report them to police like 100 meters up where I knew the police would be. So this time they didn't end up taking anything because I reacted really fast. But like, honestly, by the time that I whipped around, she had my purse open. So like a millisecond longer and she would have been able to grab my wallet, which was literally the first thing in my purse. And what was scary is that she had her son with her, and he was tall and he was big and he was aggressive. Like when I was yelling, he was yelling at me and pointing at me, and he actually went to hit me. He pulled back his fist and he went to hit me. And at that point, I stepped away. I was like, as much as I want to lure them up to the police, like, it's not worth getting punched in the face. I think they knew that there were police up the street as well, and once they realized that they weren't going to get my purse, and like, we're in a very crowded street, so I don't think it would have been smart for the boy to like knock me out while my friend was there, while we were crowded with people with the police 100 meters ahead. So they just backed down, they turned around and they left. And as they were leaving, I took photos, and so I literally ran 100 meters up and I found the policemen who were there, and I showed them the pictures, and I made like a very quick unofficial report, I guess, and the policemen sent more policemen to go down the road looking for these pickpocketers. That was the first time I'd ever been pickpocketed in my whole life, and it was definitely like traumatic. I came home and I cried, and even though they hadn't stolen anything, like I was shaking, and it just like, it was insane because it was legitimately like a millisecond away from them taking everything out of my purse. So in that instance, I was super lucky, but let that be a sign to you if you have a crossbody, if you have a purse, if you have a backpack, either lock it at all times or keep it in front of you, because that is slick. Like, I didn't feel anything except for the vibration of my zipper. Now, the second time that I was pickpocketed was in Paris, and I've already told this story a little bit in one of my other videos, but essentially what happened is I was flying from Canada back home to Paris, and I had my big suitcase with me, I had my carry-on suitcase with me, and I had bought 4 bottles of ice wine at the airport in Canada, which obviously didn't fit in any of my suitcases. Literally, like, I get off the plane, I collect my bags, I have a massive suitcase, a small suitcase, a huge backpack, 4 bottles of wine under my arm. Like, I was a, what do you call them? A packing mule? A carrying mule? I was literally a mule, okay? I was carrying all this crap with me. And the Parisian specialty is that the vast majority of metro stations, of anything public transportation, there is no elevator and there are no escalators. Like, you have to go up and down hundreds of stairs. And like, I am not exaggerating, it is hundreds of stairs. You have to go from the airport downstairs to the RER. I think there might actually be an escalator because you're at an airport, so that's one place where there is. You get on the RER, and the RER is a train that takes you from the airport into Paris. And the thing is, like, especially now when there's a lot less people traveling, you could end up like completely alone on the RER, and you're just a sitting duck. Like, if you're carrying all this stuff, which is clearly like heavier than your own body weight, you're a sitting duck. You're a target for pickpocketers, for anyone who wants to rob you, essentially. Like, literally, if someone had gotten in the RER with me and just like ripped my suitcase out of my hand and ran off with it, I would have been like, bye. Like, there was nothing I could do. So anyways, I didn't get robbed on the RER, but as I got off the RER, I then had to take a metro, and then I had to take a bus to get home to my house. And from the RER to the metro, I had to go upstairs, and then downstairs, and then up a few stairs, and then down like 50 stairs. And this was a struggle. I can't even tell you how heavy all my bags were. Like, I was constantly like looking behind me, carrying one suitcase down 5 stairs, running up, carrying the other one down. Like, I was so conscious of really trying not to get robbed. And one thing that I didn't do, which was so stupid, I kick myself every time I think about this, I had all my suitcases locked, but I hadn't locked my backpack. So I have these little locks, which I normally use to lock up my backpack, but the thing is, I stupidly didn't lock up my backpack, and it was just because once I got to the Paris airport, I had locked everything up, and then I had to clear like 4 different desks of like border control. They had to see my COVID test, they had to check my visa and my passport. Like, every 5 seconds I was opening my backpack, so I just stopped locking it, and then by the time I was done showing all my paperwork and like getting into the country, I was outside of the airport, and I just felt like a sitting duck. Like, I just didn't want to be anywhere stationary for more than 10 seconds. I feel like when you're stationary, you're just like inviting people to come up to you and distract you and pickpocket you. So I was just like, as soon as I left the airport, I was like, go, no stop. And I didn't lock my backpack up again. And it was so stupid because when I got to the metro and I was going up and down those stairs, I was holding everything in my hands, like my suitcases in my hands, but I had my backpack obviously on my back. I couldn't swing it around the front because I was carrying my wines and I couldn't see. And so the way that they pickpocketed me was really interesting. I was seriously struggling to go downstairs, and I was getting nervous, and like there was a lot of people, and this one guy who looked like a businessman, you know, nicely dressed in a suit with his laptop and everything, was just like, hey, do you want some help? And I was like, yes. So I gave him the least valuable of my suitcases, and he you know, carried it down the stairs for me, and he didn't rob me, but I think that he was just a distraction because behind me, while I was talking to this man and while he was helping me with my suitcase, 2 girls unzipped my backpack and started fishing around and taking stuff. And the thing is, I didn't feel anything. I didn't feel them open my bag, I didn't hear them open my bag, but the only reason that I caught them, and I caught them almost in time, was because I was in this habit of every 10 seconds, like checking behind me, always. I knew that my backpack was there. I knew that I was like literally a sitting duck. So honestly, every 10 seconds I was checking behind me. And so on one of those checks, I see these 2 girls like literally right beside me, breathing down my neck. And I turn around, they're there, and they immediately run, and they back off and they run. and I don't think anything of it. I just was like, oh, okay, they must be lost. So I just finished going down the stairs and I get on the metro and this lady taps my shoulder. She's like, you know your backpack's wide open, right? And I was like, holy crap, like what? I was so pissed because in my backpack I had everything from my wallet to my laptop to my camera to my passport. Like I had everything in my backpack and I was just like in full panic mode. I was like, what did they take? I'm so scared. I swung my backpack around and they had definitely taken stuff. They had tried to steal my laptop, but I had a little flap and they weren't able to get the flap open. Like you could see that they tried to get it open, but they weren't able to get it open completely. So they didn't steal my laptop, but I had a bunch of bags. I had my sewing equipment on top of my camera, on top of my wallet and everything. Like I had a bunch of bags with like sewing stuff for my masks, which I hand sew. And so they grabbed all of those bags, I guess, when they ran. And thankfully in those bags, it was just masks, it was just fabric, it was just sewing supplies. So it wasn't the end of the world. But again, like I was just bawling. It was such an awful experience because like I'm a vulnerable young woman. Clearly I'm taking the metro. Like I'm not well off to take a taxi home. And these other young women came and robbed me. Like it's just such a shitty feeling, to be honest. Like I don't know how else to describe it. I was just hurt that someone who is like me wanted to rob me and successfully robbed me. So yeah, after that experience, never again am I going to take the Arielle or the metro when I'm traveling back to Paris. It's just not traveler friendly. Like if you have a carry-on and one bag and you lock your bag, like then you should be fine. But I cannot do that anymore with like 6 suitcases, wine, and an unlocked backpack. I won't do that anymore. So the second time that I came back to Paris, I just took an Uber home and it was 50 euros and that sucks, but it's way worth doing that than being hurt and upset and robbed in Paris. Now before I get to my friend's crazy story, let's just talk about some other quick little pickpocketing moments that I've seen, just that you guys are aware of what happens to tourists. A couple months ago, I was in the metro and there was this old lady with her suitcase and this guy runs up to her, he rips the suitcase out of her hands and within 3 seconds, he's gone. Like he's disappeared. The metros in Paris is just like a connection of like random tunnels everywhere. So it's easy to like run down a hallway and like turn down this one and run on a metro and you can be gone. Like you can literally disappear. And you know, she was an old lady. She was defenseless. She couldn't stop him. She couldn't run after him. She was in shock. She was upset. She was confused. Within literally 3 seconds, he had disappeared. Another really crummy situation that I saw happen was on La Ligne 9, which goes right to the Champs-Élysées and Avenue Grand Montaigne, like all the expensive boutiques like Louis Vuitton, Chanel, Gucci, all that kind of stuff. So I was on the metro one day and I saw this mother and daughter and son who had clearly gone and done some shopping on Avenue Montaigne. They had these like big Louis Vuitton bags, like big yellow Louis V's. You could see that they had purchased some big expensive things and they are literally on the metro and we arrive at a stop and the doors open and out of nowhere these children come up, rip the bags out of their hand, run off the metro, and they're gone. And the thing is, the family was stunned and didn't have enough time to react. And because this happened on the metro and the kids like literally just ran, by the time that the family had realized what happened, the metro doors had closed and we were already on to the next stop. I can't even imagine how much all that stuff costs. It's just like in 2 seconds, if you're not paying enough attention, it could be gone. Okay, now the most awful story of all, I think, is what happened to my friend very recently. Her situation is interesting to talk about because I've actually never heard or seen of this happening, and so I think it's important that you guys know that this is something that pickpocketers do to steal your valuables. Because the way that she described it to me, she was just like, I was so distracted, I had no idea what was going on, I didn't even realize that they had stolen anything until like 35 minutes later when I reached for my phone and it wasn't there. So basically what happened to her is she was going to work one day and she works at like a pretty casual place, so she didn't look like dressed up or bougie at all. Like she was literally just wearing jeans, a Blundstone, a coat, and a tote bag. So she's like walking to work. Mind you, beside her work is like the police station like 200 meters away. Out of nowhere, this guy comes up to her and he's like, Madame, like, your coat. And it looked like she had bird poop on her coat. It looks like a bird had pooped on her coat. And he was just like, your coat, like, let me help you clean it. And she was like, oh my God, like my nice coat, like there's bird crap on it, like what? And so, you know, right away he's helping her clean it, and she's just like, oh my god, like, well, yeah, like, this is so crappy. In her head she's probably thinking like, oh, I gotta get this dry clean, like, how did this even happen? Yeah, so he helps her clean it and they part ways, and so she gets to her work and she like reaches for a phone and it's not there anymore. And she realizes that literally the only interaction that she had before she came to work was with that guy who was like helping her clean her coat, and she looked it up. And apparently a new strategy for pickpocketers is to spray you with like a messy material and then to come over and offer to help you clean it up, and while they're cleaning your coat, reach into your pocket and steal your phone, your wallet, whatever is in there. The more that she thought about it, she realized that where she had run into this guy, she was like standing and she was texting on her phone, and she had put her phone in her pocket, and she had noticed him before he even came over. And so he was probably watching everyone, seeing who was on their phone, seeing who had the nicest phone, and who was the easiest target. So I guess he saw my friend on her phone, and he saw that she put her phone in her pocket, and he figured she was an easy target, so literally just came over behind her back and sprayed her with fake bird poop. The thing that's scary is I know that if I had been in that situation, 100% I would have been so shocked and been like, oh my god, yes, please help me, oh my god, like, what just happened? Like, I'd be so confused, I'd be so annoyed. I think eventually I would question what this man was doing helping me, but even before I got to that point, you are gonna have these feelings of like shock and confusion, and that is just the perfect time for someone to catch you off guard and to steal your stuff. So with that story in mind, I guess we know that pickpocketers now have all these like crazy strategies to catch you off guard and to distract you and rob you, and it's good to know them so that when this happens to you, or if this happens to you, hopefully not when, if this happens to you, you maybe think twice about accepting someone's help in a situation that you're confused about. That is all for my pickpocketing stories. I hope this video was useful for you guys. Let me know in the comments down below if you have anything else to add. I think it's good to raise awareness about how to stay safe and how to keep your valuables safe while you're traveling and living abroad. So yeah, if you guys have any other tips or any other stories to share, please leave them in the comments below. And if you did like this video, please don't forget to subscribe and give it a thumbs up. And I will see you guys in my next video.